Morning. We have had all sorts of problems with our internet connection this morning. I'm trying my best to get Pilates up and running. So if you've just joined me, we're now going to do a lot of stretching, work into some Pilates exercises that aren't too difficult, but to get our bodies back into where they need to be at this time. If you are struggling at home and you can't lay on the floor, then do lay on the sofa and do the same exercises there, or grab a chair, as I'll be able to help you through that. I will go back to doing chair exercises on their own as well later on in the week. So if you're ready, the first thing we're going to do is lay down and place the head on a pillow or block. Once you are down, make sure the head is comfortable, that the legs are in crooked position and that the hands are by your side. Once you're here, the first thing we're going to do is stretch the arms by taking one at a time over the head, taking the thumb over the head to the floor and bringing it back. So that here you can work through the shoulders and the arms to lengthen. You will feel a stretch from the shoulders, especially underneath the armpit, as you take that hand one at a time past the block or pillow. It is important at this point to remember that your back should be a neutral spine, relaxed, and you should feel the whole of the back or spine from the neck to the bottom. We're going to do two more of those single arm stretches, taking their time from one to the other, and then we're going to do both arms together and stretch the arms above the head. While here, I want you to wake up the neck muscles and gently look to the knees and down for 4. Again, allowing the center transverse abdominis muscles and rectus abdominis muscles to just slightly fire. We'll use these a little later on. And then both arms are going to come to your side and back over the head. And again, for 6 of these, bringing the arms together to the mat and over the head. And again, you can do this on the sofa, so there's no excuse, oh, I can't get on the floor or can't get back up again. You can still do exactly the same, just laying on a sofa or bed. So we're going to do 4 more of these. Nice easy stretch to start the morning. Keep lengthening through the arms and bringing them back down. The next thing we're going to do is bring the hands either side of the bottom and then bring the legs up to what we call in Pilates a tabletop. Now if you have a bad back, place the hands either side of the glute muscles or use a ball to protect the lower back. Just tucking it under the coccyx there, not too high up the back so you've still got a neutral spine. Then bring the knees down so the heels are in line with the knees, and we're just going to touch toe and come back up. Now for those that joined me live in the last lockdown, we did loads of these, and what I'd like to do is start you off at about 30 so that you fire the rectus abdominis, work in the hip flexors and also work in the joints in the lower legs and build you up each week. Now if we are in lockdown for only 4 weeks, this should be easy. You should be able to see me back in classes in no time. If it goes on a little longer, again, those that are watching them live, fine. But those that want to watch it again later, you can go back on at any time, and they will be shown as well later on in YouTube. Okay, we're going to do another 10 of these. So again, touching with the toe, gently one at a time, and bringing the heels together. You should feel a nice warm feeling in the lower tummy now as you drop one at a time. So continue doing those. You may find them really boring, but they're actually really warming the muscles up, specifically in those hips. So if you suffer with a hip problem, this is one you need to watch for. Now we're going to double leg touch, bringing them back to a tabletop, up and down. Now here you find that you're firing the calf muscles, and as we go up and down, I'm going to do 15 of those just to warm through the back and core. Each time you drop and come back up, watching the back here, you'll feel a slight arch in the spine. So be careful as you drop through there if you have a back condition. I'm going to do 4 more of those. And then we're going to take the legs back to tabletop and go to the ceiling and back down. Working now to stretch the back of the legs, specifically the hamstrings to the knees. The calf muscles can also have an extra stretch, and as you do one at a time, you might want to flex through the foot. Again, stretching the back of the knee and calf as well. Now, like me, if you've already gone into lockdown mode and you're doing a lot of walking, these exercises are so good for the calf muscles, especially as you come up to stretch the leg into dorsiflexion. So we're going to do 6 more of those, stretching through the back of the knee, 3 on each leg, and lengthening those hamstrings. Again, you might want to do a few more at home. If you're watching this on playback, you can just press pause and carry on. Now we're going to do both legs together from here, going up to the ceiling and down. Now I'm pointing my toes again, it's optional if you want to go into a flex foot or dorsiflexion. Me here in plantar flexion, just working in the knee joints. Now for those that know me personally, have been to all my classes, I have a bit of a menisci problem in my left knee. So I'm listening to my body to think, oh, you know, is that clicking going to prevent me doing that exercise? Can I go a bit further? Do I need to bring it down in intensity? So again, that's something you can do throughout the exercises. Listen to your body. Okay, we're going to go into cycling now. We used to do these loads, especially in the last lockdown. We're just going to do 30 forwards and 30 reverse. For those that haven't been continuing classes with me over the last 3 months and have just come back into it here, be careful here as you work the knees. Or if you have a little bit of a tummy, you may find it a little difficult to keep that cycling going, as the core muscles there are really having to work quite hard to keep the legs in the air. And again, nearly on 30 now, so 4 more, and then this is the difficult part if you're not used to it. Drawing the knee inwards, bringing the knee to the chest, working in reverse, just like if you were on a push bike, you'd have to push the pedals back. A lot of people push back to go forwards. So we're doing exactly that. And here, as you reverse through the knees and legs, you should feel the knees getting a little stronger. And what's happening inside of those knees is loads of synovial fluid travelling to the membrane. And again, allowing the inside of the knee to be less painful if you have a sore knee, but also to keep the joints lubricated. And again, if you're deciding to do a lot of walking, this is a nice alternative to stretch out the muscles. We're going to reverse again, so 30 going forwards, nice big circles. Now if you want to progress, and you can do this in your own time or carry on as you are, I'm going to show you the progression. So you remove the ball and the block, come down the mat slightly and roll up. Once on the shoulders, you can then cycle, and this will help with a nice increase in heart rate and also working through the legs. Now if you can get the legs further away from you and bigger, the better the work on the stretch in the knees and joints, plus it works in the back. So it might be one to look at. You might want to just carry on doing little tiny ones. I'm coming up a little higher now, trying to keep my bottom and back straight, still stretching the legs away. Nice work. Now those that are on the back, see if you can reverse the legs back again for 30. Best for sustain here in the progression for another 10. And then from here, reversing on the shoulders. Still working through the legs here. Another 5. And then knees in. Roll up onto your bottom and seated. Once you're there, bring the knees into the chest and straighten the back. We do this a lot in class. Those that are suffering with lower back, place the ball a little away from your back there, and straightening through the back, take the shoulders down and hold that stretch for 2 more breaths. Then lift up the legs, holding into a bridge position. Now this takes a lot of skill. If you're finding that you can't hold with both legs, maybe just one leg, but remember, relying on the ball behind you will help you stay there. And stay here for 4 to 5 breaths. And again, if you want to count rather than breathe, it's about 30 counts, half a minute. Rest of us that are breathing in deeply. Now straighten the back a little more and take both legs all the way up. And some of you will be able to reach for the toes as well. If not, hold the back of the knees. A little difficult this one to do on a sofa, but you can roll back into the cushions to be able to hold. Now I know all of us are trying to find our place in a second lockdown, but some of us obviously still working, and you might be watching this on a replay. Doesn't matter when you decide to do them, it might motivate you more to do them when you get home from work straight away. I wouldn't recommend doing these after you've eaten, as I tell most of my girls and boys on a Wednesday night, or on a Tuesday normally. Now we're going to open the legs, still find your balance, working into a straight back here. Now if you can't open both legs, do one at a time. Again, still looking forwards, holding here with a straight neck, and then maybe opening out the legs to find more balance between the legs. Let's stay there another 4 deep breaths, or count to 15. And then when ready, bring your feet together, turn out the feet and hold the outside of the foot as we're opening out the hips. Again, if you find this difficult with a hip problem, do one leg at a time. Still here trying to gain a straight back, shoulders down and neck up or chin up. So you're stretching. I'm going to hold there for 2 more breaths. Now, a difficult exercise we're going to do next, and I'm going to give you alternatives, is to bring the knees down and hold with the hands behind you and just lift one at a time to get, again, the limbs and joints working. And then from here, those with hip problems, you can take the leg out to the side one at a time and back. The rest of us are going to do something that's quite difficult, and that's hip twist. I'm going to face you for this one so you can copy if you need to. So we're going to bring the legs up and hold. Hands out to the side, maybe taking one hand at a time to balance, and we're going to go into a hip twist, bringing both legs to a rainbow shape from one side to the other. Again, one leg at a time if you find this difficult. And this is really going to tone up the legs, and the back is going to strengthen, and the hips obviously doing the work. It's going to help to tone your waistline. I'm going to do another 6 of these. Nice work. And for those that can, try and stay here again, holding the legs, bend through and draw the legs down straight backs, just like I did at the side there. Hold here for 2 more breaths. Now we're going to open out the legs and bring the heels to the bottom. I'm going to work through the inside leg, but gently pulse through the knees now. I'm going to do about 4 or 5 of those. And these just to stretch out from where you've twisted the legs already. And we're going to take the body onto the side now. Now you don't really need any more equipment, but if you find that it hurts under here, place the ball underneath you. Now I'm going to come up onto my elbow. There are 3 stages here you can work the upper body. Either bringing both arms there over the head and finding your balance. Some of you that like to find balance, this is great for you. If not, stay on the elbow. And from here, we're going to lift the top leg and then take the other leg off the floor. Engage in the core, hip and bottom or glute muscles. We're going to stay there for 6 breaths to hold, and then we're going to go into snap scissor legs. So again, if you're not good at breathing and counting your breaths, just count to 10 or 15, and then we're going to draw the legs together and away. And here, working into your bottom side of the legs, feeling the top there of your abductor muscles. Two more. And we're going to drop the bottom leg, still staying here with the arms above the head. We're going to do leg floats, pointed toe up, flex heel down, and we're going to do 25 of those. Try not to move forward and back. So again, stabilise your hip joints. Make sure you're not moving forward and back. Now, if you are watching this live, I've had all sorts of problems with music. So if you're watching this on playback, you can play your own music and listen to me at the same time. Might be one to do it when you get home. Don't forget, as you pull up and pull down, you'll feel your glute muscles working and the top of the hip there. Nice work. We're halfway, so we want about 10 more of these. Try not to rush them. Remember, staying on the arms there, try and keep balanced. You should be just off of the hip bone underneath you, so not sitting on it, and that can be quite unbalancing and uncomfortable. 2 more. And then we're going to do the same on the other side, so bringing the knees in, roll over. So for those that have just joined us, bent elbow if you find it difficult, otherwise arms above the head. And we're going to lift the top leg to balance and hold for 2 to 3 breaths. Nice big deep breaths, finding your balance again. If you can't balance, bend the elbow and come up. And we're going to snap the legs also for 10. So in breath and up. Trying to bring the legs together and balance. Difficult. Nice work. Now stay in balance, leg floats. Pointing the toes, plantar flexion up, dorsiflexion down. Again, watching your balance. Try and keep the hands together. Don't forget your breathing. Now we did about 18 on the other side. So go to how many ever you can do. Still working the balance. Now if you're on the sofas, this is actually easier because you don't have so much pain in the hip when you're laying on the floor or mats. And if you're on the sofa, you might just want to place your head on a pillow in order to do this. As I mentioned earlier, there's no excuses for stretching and exercise, although people that get depressed will look for every opportunity not to try. 6 more. Nice work. 4. Last 2. And then we're going to roll back onto the back, coming off the arms. And then I'm going to add my block again. Again, a pillow will do, onto underneath the head, onto the mat. And then I'm going to reach for my band. Now, if you don't have a resistance band, you can use a belt or not use one at all. And I'm going to take that band around my foot. We're going to do leg floats from here. Before we do, encouraging the back of the leg, pull with the toes towards the head, stretching all the way through the back of the leg to the knee. And again, as you're pulling nice and strongly, you should feel a nice stretch. If it's not nice and it's hurting, it means you've just gone a bit further. Don't worry about how far my leg's going. This takes practice. We're going to pull further over if you can. And here you will really get your maximum stretch. So again, pulsing, but then I'm going to lengthen, drop the heel and foot up. So we're going to go up and down, again 30 of those stretches. My foot is staying in dorsiflexion or flex throughout. Elbows are staying still. And some of you might want to draw them to the floor to get a full range of movement with the hip and leg. And again, we're trying to do about 30 of them. Keeping the heel underneath you will help you to focus as well. The other leg, the bent knee, try not to move it side to side. So we're going to control that leg that's bent. Again, head and shoulders should be relaxed. Now go back to full range of movement. Try not to bend this knee. So you've got lots of stability there, as well as alignment in the leg as you're moving. Back here still into a neutral spine, so there's no gap between the lower back and upper back. If there is, then you need to make sure you adjust the legs to make sure that doesn't happen. And those with bad hips and legs, again, those on the sofa maybe, Don't use the ball underneath on there because you'll roll off, but you've got more padding, so there's no excuse to work the legs. If you found that you haven't been out very much and you have, maybe you're still shielding or not been out since first lockdown, these are easy exercises to do in bed or on the sofa. Finding the motivation is the problem. Other leg when ready, 30 of these. Already halfway. Now remember what I said earlier about extra movement. As long as the bent knee is not moving, you can then encourage the hands to pull that leg further towards over the head maybe and heel to the floor. So you've got this nice stretch going through the legs from the hips and a little bit on the back as well. Nice work. Maybe just 6 more here. Now we're going to place both feet inside of the band. Now those with back issues, I do recommend the ball. A lot of teachers don't teach with props, and that's fine, but over the time, and I'm pretty old now, I've had all sorts of injury in my back, and I know the ball always protects mine, and that's why I use it. You don't have to use them, but it will just centre your back better as well. So as you come to double leg kicks up and down, you'll just be able to gauge where your back's comfortable. And again, don't forget your breathing, out breath down, in breath and up. Feeling the work through the body. Nice work. So nice big stretches here. I'm going to do 6 more of these. Nearly there. 3 more left. How are we doing out there? Keep going? Good. Now I'm going to use the band again with just one leg. So I'm taking one leg, taking it back to a crook position. I'm going to take it out to the side and then bring it down. So I'm working through at the hip again, but this time still trying not to move the bent knee. It gets harder when you take the leg out to the side, but fantastic to limber the hips. All of these Pilates exercises can be found online, and it depends on your teacher. And also, there are so many websites with the history of John Pilates. So it's always good to maybe do a little bit of history and delve into why we work different joints. Fantastic if you suffer with arthritis, for it really helps the joints to be lubricated and get them warm. So if this is one of you that suffer, again, this is something you might want to look at. And we're going to change legs and do the same on the other leg. Notice I only did 15 of those, so 30 altogether, 15 on each leg. Again, feeling the work through the hip as well as in the leg. Nice work. Now, one nice thing about mat Pilates is that we're working in a stationary position. We're not rushing around, we're not jumping up and down, so there's really no excuse, although we may find these exercises, if you have very tight joints or if the muscles are tight. Over time, if you were to do them each day, you would feel more lubricated and have a lot more elasticity around the joints, so in the ligaments, etc. Right, 2 more. And then we're going to bring you up to seated again. So remove the ball, remove the band and come up. So we're going to work into the back and tummy now. These are things that people find difficult to move, and if you eat too much, it can also create a little bit of excess there in the tummy. So we're going to take the ball a little way behind. I'm going to bend the knees to make it easier for me to roll back. Make sure your heels are down, that there's a gap between the legs. I'll just show you that from the camera here. And then we're going to roll back to the ball and come back up. I do these most weeks in my classes. So here you fire your core muscles, strengthen the lower back, and as you come forward and back, notice the head and neck isn't moving. All of the target is in these areas. And the whole time I'm rolling, I'm pulling through the vertebrae, and then you can actually go further back by tucking the chin in, feeling that work into the lower back, core muscles, as well as in the neck. Now, my hands here are just giving me stability. You don't have to have the arms in front, but as we go into roll backs, some of you may find it a little uncomfortable, the lower back, so you may need to double up on the mats if it's sore, or bring the ball further closer to your back. We've done those before. So 4 more here. And then I'm going to add the band. Now, you might want to carry on doing those roll backs. You may be already out of breath. But then I'm going to place the band around both feet, placing the band on the floor. And you can use the band there to bring the legs up and go back and forwards, which will now work into your tummy muscles more. But here with the legs in tabletop, using the band, try not to move the arms so that just the core muscles doing the work. It's quite hard work. Again, go back to where we were if it's too much. Should be nice and warm now. I'm going to do 6 more of these. Last 2. Now I'm going to remove the band and the ball and the block and bring them all away from behind me. And then I'm going to hold my calf muscles, bring the legs to tabletop and go into a roll back. So if you know you've got a back problem, you can't roll back, etc. We've done these before. Then just tabletop to the floor. So you're holding that position, still working on the core muscles. Rest of us holding the outside of the calves, tuck in the chin, roll back and breathe in to come up. We're going to do 16 of those. Now notice as I roll, I'm not pouncing. So rolling through the shoulders, tucking in the chin, allows that roll to take place without bouncing, and the lower core muscles here as you roll through are really doing the work. Now you may find as you come up, you may have to put the feet down. I find that if you put the feet down, it's harder to roll back. So do take your time and do 4 more. Nice work. 2 more. Last one. And then we're going to come up to seated. Now you can sit on the block if you need to. If not, allow the legs to open out the glute muscles when you're there, and we're going to do a gentle windmill from here. So I'm going to stretch my arms first towards the toes and stretch out the legs. Again, an easy one to do on the sofa. You wouldn't have been able to do the rolling though, that would have been too difficult. You probably would have ended up on the floor. And then we're going to go into windmill. So opposite hand to opposite leg, gently pushing through the knee to reach, and the hip, to reach for the big toe. Now if you want to progress from here, this windmill position, then just take the head further down, gently kneeling through the knee there into the ground. So not kneeling on the knee, but pushing into the ground with the knees. And then bring in your hand to the opposite toes. I'm going to do 6 more here. And then from here, both hand swings, coming down, nose to the knee, coming up into hip twists. And here, as you hip twist, again, you're not bringing the legs off the floor this time. You're trying to bring the head down to the knee to progress through the back. Brilliant if you are tight again in the lower back, hips and hamstrings. And repeat here for another 10. 5 more left. Now if you have one leg that's tighter than the other, don't worry, it will come with time. Don't force the knee to lock. And remember, through the back, stretching from the neck to the bottom of the spine, but also from the back of the leg to the knee. So I'm going to bring the knees in. They're going to be a bit tight now. And just straighten the back to recover. 2 breaths there. I'm going to take you onto the knees now. So if you do have a knee problem, you'll need to kneel on the sofa or double up on your mats. So coming up onto the knees, we're going to do some work into the legs and bottom. And without sounding rude, us girls do suffer a little bit in those areas. So here you should feel a nice workout. So from here, we're going to just gently bend the knee towards the ceiling, curling the other toe to stop you wobbling, and then bring that heel towards the ceiling into a mini pulse. We're going to do 30 of those, working into the glute muscles and lower back. Ten more. How are we doing? So remember, the heel stays still, just trying to get the knee in line with the hip as you pulse. And then we're going to swap legs, 30 of them again on the other leg. Really good for your hips and thighs as well as in the lower back and glutes. Remember to breathe deeply, especially if you're in your home, it's quite warm. You may need to open a door or window. At least you've got your own space here as well. So carry on, another 6. Now we're going to bring the leg down and straighten the leg at the back. And we're going to do the same, pulsing through the leg with a straight knee. And again, 30 of those. Now push down with the heel to try and straighten the knee a little more. And again, trying to get the heel above the bottom. If you are at home, you might want to get a mirror, just check you're doing that right. And then we're going to swap legs. Well done, 30 of these, straight leg lifts. Ten more. Now the legs again and the bottom's going to feel a little sore, so we're going to stretch them out. We're going to go into a downward dog and just push into pedal pushers. Stretching through those leg muscles we've already worked, but also good for the knees and ankles. This is one that you would need to come off your sofa, hold on to the sofa and push the heels away from the sofa if you're on there. If not, if you're on your mats, just pushing through the legs. We'll come back down to the knees. Again, watching the knees if they're sore. We're going to take the leg out to the side and back. We're going to do 30 of those lifts now. Now it does get a little sore after about 15, so we're going to swap them and go back. So you do 15 on each leg and then repeat them. Again, taking the knee from the hip out to the side. Watch the heel that it doesn't wobble too fast and feel that pressure into the glutes. Five more here for 15. Should be nice and warm, feeling those muscles working well. And then we're going to swap legs. And again, other side. Really good for the glute muscles, this one. This isn't strictly a Pilates exercise, but it's really good for your glutes. Although John Pilates used to do these standing into those that did ballet. He used to stand up and get them to do adductor stretches, holding on to a chair. 4 more. Other way. Now I just find doing them on the floor, getting to the hips and glutes just that little more. Doesn't do the wrists any good though. So if it gets too much, bend the elbows down, yeah? So you can still do them from here. Five more here, and we're going to swap over. When ready, other leg. Last 15. Now again, straighten the legs, lengthen, heels down, one at a time into that downward dog, stretching through the heels. Or lengthen all the muscles you want. We're going to walk the feet towards the hands. And we're going to tuck in the chin and hang there for a minute. And we're going to roll through the back, one vertebrae at a time to come up. Take your time on this one. So each part of the back is stretching. Then we're going to roll the shoulders back and down. As you do this with a nice straight back, don't forget that the more you lengthen the spine and lift the chin and the neck nice and straight, the better it is for you. Nice work. And we're going to go forwards with those shoulders now. I'm going to work a little bit more into the bottom. We're going to open the legs slightly so you've got a nice ridge here. We're going to take that ridge away and we'll bring the arms up and pulse through the glutes. Here into a gentle pulse seated standing squat. So coming down, bottom travelling away. Really good for the bottom. Fantastic for the glutes. And great for the knees. Now take the arms to the ceiling and stretch away. I'm going to go a little further now, but lengthening the arm muscles. Now hang forwards again where you just were, and then bring the feet to the parallel to your hips. I'll turn this way, making this easier to see. Tuck in the chin, and from the lower back, roll again all the way through the lower back. Stretching the spine, the shoulder rolls back, chin lifts. Oh, feels so good. I'm going to work a little bit more on that upper body. You'll need your band now. Once you're there, taking the bands in front of you. The hands should be parallel to the shoulders. You can see that if you look in the mirror. Feet there need to be equal amount of balance between both. Make sure you've not got one leg taking all of the power. And we're going to open and release the bands. And we're going to do 16 of these, working on the upper arm. The deltoids will fire, the pectoral muscles together will work, and here stretching the arm muscles as well. So if you've got a little problem with the arms, real good one for you to stretch. Another thing I'll add, if you're used to doing aerobic-y type exercises with me, this might be a nice opportunity to swap over and stretch the muscles rather than just work on cardiovascular. However, you could do the other way around. So if you do a lot of Zumba, join me in Pilates and yoga, and we'll stretch and strengthen those muscles that we would normally jump up and down on. Okay, 4 more. Again, feeling the stretch through the top of the arms now. Nice work. So 16 altogether. I'm going to turn to make this easier, but then we're going to drop the band behind you. Hands either side of the bottom. We're going to lift the arms a little further up, head forwards. And you're going to try and open the band here. Now, the further in the hands go, the easier it is to pull against that resistance. And then you've got 16 of those as you pull open and release. We're already halfway. And then we're going to lift the arms up and down. I'll turn it back to the side as you can see. Taking the arms away, pull the tummy muscles in, straighten the back, head up, and then try and get the shoulders a little further up and down. 4 more here. We're nearly finished, last one. Now we're going to work on balance. So taking your band, place it underneath the right foot. Once you are balanced, the left foot needs to be secure, and then you need to pull the band so that you're bending through the elbows. And then watching the balance, walk up your band with your hands, bringing the foot then in line hopefully with your hip, holding your balance for 6 breaths here. And if you're not good at counting breaths, then you can just count 15. should feel quite boosted, ready for the muscles to carry on with whatever you plan to do today. For those off work, use this opportunity to maybe spring clean the house if you haven't done that since the last lockdown. Or you might want to repeat some of these exercises and carry on. I'll be there to guide you each day as well. Other leg, other balance, or balance on the other leg even. And we're going to come up again. And watching bare foot parallel to your hip, bent elbows to your chest or waist. And breathe in and out to hold there. Two more breaths to hold. Now we're going to bring the arms by your side and step both feet inside to work the deltoid muscles and also the biceps this time. With the palms facing the legs, take the arms out to the side. And you're working through the shoulders as well as inside and outside of the arms as you come out and back. Now if you don't have a band, you can still do this without the band, but here really works through stretching of the arms. You should feel that lengthening and stretching. Don't forget your breathing. It's important that the back stays straight. And again, watch that you're not doing more on one leg or arm as the other. We'll do 4 more. Nice work. Now from here, draw the palms towards me, bending the elbows to the waist and bring both hands up to the shoulders. You'll find this far harder. Fantastic for the bicep, but brilliant also for the triceps. The back of the arms, they're really having to work through the elbows. I'm going to do 6 more here. Last 2. And release the band. To finish with, we're going to go to dumb waiter, bringing the elbows close to your waistline. And I shouldn't see a gap here. A lot of people do it out there. Bring the elbows in. Starting with the palms facing the ceiling. Relax the shoulders, keep the head and chin up, and draw a deep breath in as you open without the gap, yes? And release. We're going to do 16 of these. You can use the band, so if you've already been using it, I'll just demo with that. The hand then, palms facing the ceiling, can bring the band open and close. So you add resistance to the dumb waiter exercise. Really good if you suffer with an arm problem. Don't forget your breathing. Nice work. We're nearly there. 8 more. Nice work. Now relax the band and the hands. And roll the shoulders back. And we're going to go and finish with a ski stretch, which will allow you to get the jobs done around the house. So we're going to have a deep breath in and stretch up. Pull through the arms and legs. Make sure the heels are comfortable. Then ski down, keeping the gap between the knees and in line with the hips. Breathe out on the way down. Breathe in to come up. Feel the stretch through the back. Oh, feels so good. Especially again if you've done a lot of walking and if you've not worked the upper body. And again, you don't need the sofa for this. You can just stand and do this with me. Get as much of that fresh air into the lungs. And again, a nice one to do outside as well, so keep you cool because you will increase the heart rate. 4 more. Two more. And last one. And we're going to go back to the seated squat I did earlier. I'm going to hold that position to finish. I'm going to stay here for a count of 6 deep breaths. Lengthen the elbows, relax the hands. I've got a flange shape here, so flag shape, hand forwards, head up. Breathe in. Can we go lower in the bottom? Not so good on the knees though. Arms higher. Now hang forwards and roll up slowly. Roll the shoulders back and then to the limb of the neck. Chin to the left shoulder, to the right and back. Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow at about 11 o'clock. Take care. Bye-bye.